Module 27 Mezzotints. Carefully choose one zinc, copper or iron block. Ensure that the block chosen is cut at right angles of 7 inches into 7 inches in size. The design to be printed has to be of the same dimension as the size of the block, that is 7 inches into 7 inches. Prepare several sketches to refine the design and select one for printing. Slope the edges of the entire block using a metal file. This technique is called beveling the block edges. Carefully polish the surface to be etched clean with Brasso. Apparatus and materials. Zinc, copper or iron block, size 7 inches into 7 inches, tracing and carbon paper, etching, drawing needle, scraper, metal file, Brasso, sticker paper, black Japan, black printing ink, stop out solution, rocker tool, burnisher tool, inking knife, hard ground, inking glass, paper for printing, lamp, cotton rags and kerosene for cleaning, printing machine, hand gloves, mask, roller or braid, woolen felt. Mezzotint is a printmaking process of the Intaglio family. Technically, it is compared to a dry point method. It was the first tonal method to be used to enable half tones to be produced without using line or dot based techniques like hatching, cross hatching or stippling. Mezzotint achieves tonality by roughening the plate with thousands of little dots made by a metal tool with small teeth called a rocker. In printing, the tiny pits in the plate hold the ink when the face of the plate is wiped clean. A high level of quality and richness in the print can be achieved. The history of Mezzotint printmaking dated back to 1609 to 1680, and it was invented by German amateur artist Ludwig von Siegen. His earliest Mezzotint print dates back to 1642, and it is a portrait of the Countess Amelie Elisabeth of Hanau-Munzenburg. This was made by working from light to dark. The rocker seems to have been invented by Prince Rupert of the Rhine, a famous cavalry commander in the English Civil War, who was the next to use the process and took it to England. Sir Peter Lely saw the potential for using it to publicize his portraits and encourage a number of Dutch printmakers to come to England. The process was especially widely used in England from the mid-18th century to reproduce portraits and other paintings. Since the mid-19th century, it has been relatively little used. Robert Kipnis and Peter Elstead are two notable 20th century exponents of the technique. M.C. Escher also made 8 mezzotints. Create the dots pits on the block with the rocker tool. The rocker tool is available in a number of sizes. An already dotted plate could also be used as they are easily available. British mezzotint collecting was a great craze from about 1760 to the Great Crash of 1929. Also spreading to America. The main area of collecting was British portraits. Hit oil paintings from the Royal Academy Summer Exhibition were routinely and profitably reproduced in mezzotint throughout this period. and other mezzotintzers reproduced older portraits of historical figures or, if necessary, made them up. The favorite period to collect was roughly from 1750 to 1820, the great period of the British portrait. There were two basic styles of collection. Some concentrated on making a complete collection of material within a certain scope, while others aimed at perfect condition and quality, which declines in mezzotints after a relatively small number of impressions are taken from a plate, and in collecting the many proof states which artists and printers had oblongly provided for them from early on. Leading collectors included William Eaton, 2nd Baron Chelmsford, and the Irishman Jason Calner Smith. The most common method used for mezzotints was the dark to light method. The whole surface of the metal used, either copper or others, was roughened up evenly manually with a rocker or mechanically. If the plate were printed at this point, it would show as solid black. The image is then created by selectively burnishing areas of the surface of the metal plate with metal tools. The smoothed parts will print lighter than those areas not smoothed by the burnishing tool. A burnisher has a smooth, round end which flattens the minutely protruding points comprising the roughened surface of the metal printing plate. Areas smoothed completely flat will not hold ink at all. Such areas will print white, that is, without ink. By varying the degree of smoothing, mid-tones between black and white can be created. Hence the name mezzo tinto, which is Italian for half tone or half painted. This is called working from dark to light or the subtractive method. Using a burnisher tool, carefully burnish or polish the block surface as per the design's tonal values. Alternatively, it is possible to create the image directly by only roughening a black plate selectively where the darker parts of the image are to be. This is called working from light to dark or the additive method. The first mezzotints by Ludwig von Siegen were made in this way. Especially in this method, the mezzotint can be combined with other integral techniques such as engraving on areas of the plate not roughened, or even with the dark to light method. Printing the finished plate is the same for either method and follows the normal way for an integral plate. The whole surface is inked. The ink is then wiped off the surface to leave ink only in the pits of the still rough areas below the original surface of the plate. The plate is put through a high pressure printing press next to a sheet of paper and the process repeated. Because the pits in the plate are not deep, only a small number of top quality impressions can be printed before the quality of the tone starts to degrade as the pressure of the press begins to smoothen them out. Now to prepare the ink to be used on the block, a few drops of black ink is poured on the inking glass. A few drops of linseed oil are added to the ink. Using a brayer or a roller, the ink and oil are mixed on the inking glass. Now this ink is ready to use on the block. Plates could be mechanically roughened by rubbing fine metal fillings over the surface with a piece of glass. The fillings, the smaller the grain produced on the plate surface. Rockers are special tools which were used since 18th century. The method commonly in use today is to use a steel rocker approximately 5 inches wide, which has between 45 and 120 teeth per inch on the face of a blade in the shape of a shallow arc, with a wooden handle projecting upwards in a T shape. Rocked steadily from side to side at the correct angle, the rocker will proceed forward, creating burrs in the surface of the plate. The plate is then moved, either rotated by a set numbers of degrees or through 90 degrees according to preference, and then rocked in another part. This is repeated until the plate is roughened evenly and will print a completely solid tone of black. A final registration is made on the machine before the block is inked. Mezzotint is known for the deep quality of its tones. First, because an evenly, finely roughened surface holds a lot of ink, allowing deep solid colors to be printed. Secondly, because the process of smoothing the plate will burn, burnisher and scraper allows fine gradations in tone to be developed. Ludwig von Siegen came from an aristocratic family and very little is known about his life. However, he must have been aware of Rembrandt's tonal etchings or achieved by conventional methods, filling in the dark areas by repeated lines. In Italy, at the same time, Giovanni Benedetto Castiglione was also exploring the possibilities of tonality in printmaking, leading him to invent monotype at almost the same moment as Siegen invented mezzotint. He worked from light to dark, only roughening the plate where he wanted to produce tones, using rollets or wheels with sharp teeth. This is unlike most later mezzotinters who first roughened the whole plate, then scraped or burnished the roughness away where they wanted lighter tones, so working from dark to light. The paper to be used to print is kept soaked and blotted half an hour before the print is taken and should be damp when being printed for integral processes. Chuck Close. Artist and printmaker Chuck Close was born in 1940 and he grew up in Washington State. A gifted draftsman from an early age, he quickly mastered realistic techniques like drawing in perspective. As a young man, he attended the well-known MFA program at Yale University, where his classmates included the sculptor Richard Serra and the sculptor and painter Nancy Graves. In the 1960s, Cloes became known for his large-scale hyper-realistic paintings of faces. Throughout his career, he has continued to create images of faces, which he calls heads, in a wide variety of sizes, styles, and media. He is well known for his monumental and gridded abstractionist portraits as a painter, and even though he is more celebrated as a quintessential painter and photographer. Cloes has also mastered the unique artistic language of printmaking, a process that requires a special degree of trust and cooperation between artist and technician. The self-portraits and portraits that he makes encompass the major forms of printmaking. Cloes is celebrated for his monumental portrait paintings in which sitters stare out at viewers with uncompromising gazes. Although identified by name, these subjects reveal none of the nuances of individual personality found in traditional portraiture. Instead, Cloes focuses on his working procedures, the means rather than the ends usually associated with his genre. It is the visual effects of translating a photograph into a painting that Cloes exploits in endless permutations. Translating still further into printmaking offers even more variables to stimulate his creativity. He has completed approximately 55 prints, working in numerous techniques. These editions have allowed a broad audience to have access to his work, a fact that Cloes appreciates since his painting's process is lengthy and results in relatively few canvases. It should be noted that the Intaglio process fills up ink in the block. Block crevices and the upper relief surface area should be wiped clean and over the edges too. Cloes's active engagement in printmaking began with his first print, Keith or Mezzotint, created in 1972. This project came about at the instigation of publisher Robert Feldman of Parasol Press, who arranged for Cloes to work with master printer Catherine Brown at Crown Point Press. So as not to be intimidated by the printer's expertise, Cloes rather perversely selected Mezzotint, a long out of favor and laborious technique that would be as much of a challenge for Brown as for him. When his constant trial proofing wore down the markings on the plate around the mouth, Cloes decided he liked that exposure of his purpose, of his process, and went even further by allowing his gridded guide to show through. From that time on, a grid has often been visible in his work in all mediums. Such fruitful collaborations with printers and the impetus of invigorating new techniques have repeatedly fed back into Close's work as a whole and made printmaking essential to his overall artistic practice. He embraced a flaw and published Keith Mazzotint in an edition of 10 with 4 artist proofs and began a dialogue on the limits of grid lines, which he would translate to many later works. First, take a trial proof and check the print for tonal gradations and values. The portraits are first graded and mapped out on paper, then printed using tiny circular stamps that each hold a single color of oil paint. The painstaking process is repeated to apply 3 layers of paint, using different colors each time to create depth. Each of these prints is a unique original work. Among other prints, including woodcuts, screen prints, engravings, etchings, and even jacquard tapestries, his repertoire includes numerous photographic works representing another foundational aspect of Close's practice. The use of photography is especially appropriate given that each of Close's portraits printed, painted, or even made into a jacquard tapestry begins with a photograph. From unique Polaroids and daguerreotype self-portraits to Woodbury types of Brad Pitt and Kate Moss, this select group of photographic works offers a dynamic complement to the show's printing works. For more than 30 years, Close has explored the art of printmaking in his continuing investigation into the principles of perception, Close has constantly but variously challenged the accepted boundaries of the printmaking tradition. Taken together, these prints constitute a remarkable self-portrait of the creative drive, vision, and intellect of one of America's most important living artists. From the artist's ambitious first Mazzotint, Keith 1972 to his recent pulp paper Multiples shows Close's genius in the medium in which he has done his most exciting work. While the production of a painting can occupy Close for many months, it is not unusual for one print to take more than 2 years to complete from conception to final edition. The relationship between Close and the master printers is key to the success of his prints, as the artist insists on a decidedly interactive approach to their creation. Close has remarked, like any corporation, I have the benefit of the brain power of everyone who is working for me. My prints have been truly collaborative, even though control is something that I give up reluctantly. Chuck Close lives and works in the New York. Now take the final print on the ready damp paper. Health and safety precautions. 1. Store concentrated nitric acid and potassium chloride separately from other chemicals. Whenever possible, use diluted acid. Acid etching should be done with local exhaust ventilation. 2. An important safety rule when diluting concentrated acids is to add the acid to the water, never the reverse. 3. Wear appropriate gloves, goggles, and protective apron or lab coat when handling acids. If acid is spilled on your skin, wash with lots of water. In case of eye contact, rinse the eyes with water for at least 15 to 20 minutes and seek medical attention. 4. Cover acid baths when not in use. 5. Nitric acid etching releases the respiratory irritant nitrogen dioxide, which has poor odor warning properties. During the etching process, flammable hydrogen gas is also produced. Concentrated nitric acid is a strong oxidizing agent and can react with many other chemicals, especially solvents or other organic compounds, to cause a fire. 6. Concentrated acids are corrosive to the skin, eyes, respiratory system, and gastrointestinal system. Dilute acids can cause skin irritation on repeated or prolonged contact. Concentrated nitric acid is a strong oxidizing agent and can react explosively with other concentrated acids, solvents, etc. Nitric acid gives off various nitrogen oxide gases, including nitrogen dioxide, which is a strong lung irritant and can cause emphysema. 7. Always work in a well-ventilated area. If in a closed space, keep the windows open at all times. 8. Read the safety, handling instructions and caution labels on the nitric acid bottles and containers carefully. 9. Always wear acid-resistant gloves, safety goggles, apron and a respirator when handling acids. 10. In the case of an accident or your need for assistance, make sure someone else in the room is aware of what you are doing. 11. Should the etch solution splash or come in contact with skin and is allowed to remain in contact with the skin, the result will be a severe one. It can be washed off immediately with plenty of water and follow these general guidelines. Always keep a container of cold water nearby in cases of an accident. If your skin comes in contact with the acid, wash the area immediately with plenty of cold water and soap for a minimum of 15 minutes. Get immediate medical attention. 12. If your body should come in contact with the acid, wash your entire body with the hose from the draining sink for a minimum of 15 minutes. Get immediate medical attention. 13. Moderants Acids and inks can be water-based or solvent-based, and hence care has to be taken that if a student has any respiratory allergies, asthma problems, appropriate aeration is provided for. 14. Etching needles and tools should be stored safely, and one should always cut away from yourself. In advance, locate the nearest first aid box. 15. When possible, clamp down plates to avoid slippage. Minimize the chance of carpal tunnel syndrome by choosing tools with wide handles, avoiding tight grips, and including hand flexing exercises during regular rest periods. Set work table height so wrist flexing motions are minimal. 16. Sharp metallic tools for techniques like dry point, etching, engraving, and mezzotint have to be used carefully and with a firm hand. Keep sharp tools under lock and key. 17. Rosin powder is a fine dust which can get into the respiratory system easily. While dusting the block, always keep the nose and mouth covered and eyes too. Make the edition number on the paper. Write all the details like date and signature on the print.